Welcome to the deep dive. Imagine this, right? A realm just teetering on the edge. You've got an empty treasury, a really controversial marriage, and this young king stepping into what basically feels like a viper's nest. How do you possibly survive that chaos, let alone thrive and, fundamentally remake a kingdom from the ground up?
It's a fascinating challenge, definitely. And King Jaehaerys, I mean, he was still pretty young in many people's eyes, but he tackled these huge issues right from the very start. So this deep dive into his early years is not just listing facts. It's really a masterclass in political maneuvering, some serious strategic thinking, and just understanding the human side of power.
Yeah, we're pulling back the curtain today on those bold decisions, the surprising characters, and the really pivotal moments that took this uncertain beginning and turned it into, well, one of Westeros' most legendary reigns. Our goal is to kind of distill the brilliance behind his rise and give you those aha moments. Show how he managed to turn all that uncertainty into real stability. We're drawing from detailed historical accounts, notes from chroniclers, personal observations too, trying to paint a really vivid picture for you. Okay, so let's start with Jaehaerys' grand entrance. He comes back to King's Landing, not with a big parade or anything, but alone, on his dragon Vermithor. Grand Maester Bennifer, he described the day as gray, kind of drizzly, but apparently when Vermithor's bronze scales were spotted, this cheer just grew and grew and grew, Bennifer said, rolling past the Red Keep. And he didn't just land, he did these dramatic sweeps over the city, 3 times lower each time, making sure everyone saw him before Vermithor finally touched down. Quite the show.
Oh, absolutely. That arrival, it wasn't just dramatic. It was pure symbolism, like raw power on display. He wasn't a king arriving in some fancy carriage. He was on a dragon, immediately asserting this new, undeniable kind of legitimacy. And Bedford noted how Jaehaerys himself had changed. No longer a stripling, but a man grown, taller, broader.
Right.
Even had this golden down on his face. And he wasn't wearing kingly robes, just practical salt-stained leathers. But, and this is key, he was carrying Blackfire, his grandsire's sword.
Ooh, yeah.
Bennifer himself admitted, a shiver of fear went through me when I saw that sword.
I bet.
But then Jaehaerys just gives this disarming smile. Lord Tully famously said it was like the sun had broken through the clouds, and his first words after landing, "My lords, we have work to do, just straight to business." It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of a leader's power, especially in a moment like that, comes from just sheer projection, that first impression?
That's a powerful thought, yeah. And despite this really commanding public entrance, he immediately runs into a deeply personal challenge. His own mother, Queen Alyssa, wasn't actually there to greet him. She'd hidden herself away in Maegor's Holdfast, their private confrontation, totally unrecorded. But when she finally appeared on his arm, her face red and puffy from weeping, well, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It really does. It highlights the immense complexity of family dynamics in a royal court, especially when power is shifting like that. Alyssa lost her regent's seat, right? And she also lost her place at council sessions. Bennifer noted she continued her duty by the realm and her son, but with no joy in her. It's a reminder, that even for people at the absolute top, the human drama behind the crown is deeply personal, often painful, and those ripples spread through the whole court.
So from the personal, Jaehaerys moves fast, straight to the political, doesn't waste any time reshaping his small council. He kept Lord Daemon Valerian as hand, okay, and Lord Corbray as a commander of the City Watch, but he just dismissed Lord Tully, sent him home. What does that tell us about his priorities right off the bat?
Competence and loyalty.
Yeah.
Above all else, it seems. Look at his choice for Master of Laws. Albin Massey, Lord of Stonedance.
Massey?
Yeah, former Citadel student. His family died from fever, left him with a twisted spine, but he famously said, "I do not limp when I read, nor when I write." So the appointment wasn't about, physical strength or old family ties. It was about intellect, pure brain power.
Interesting.
And then appointing Manfred Redwine as Lord Admiral, a non-Valerian. That was a huge break from tradition.
Wow. Yeah.
These moves, they signaled a clear shift, didn't they?
Yeah.
Away from just pure lineage toward a mix of merit and strategic alliance, diversifying his power base, sending a message.
And this sort of forward thinking, it extended to the realm's finances too, which were dire. Getting rid of Edwell Celtigar as Master of Coin was popular, apparently, though Jaehaerys handled it pretty gracefully, even praised Celtigar's daughters. And crucially, all those hated taxes Celtigar brought in, gone, immediately struck down. But finding a replacement Master of Coin was tricky. He turned down Lyman Lannister, the richest lord, and even the Hightowers.
Yeah, and this is where Jaehaerys makes a really radical, kind of unconventional choice. Rhaego Draz.
The Pentoshi.
Exactly. A merchant, trader, money changer from Pentos. Humble origins, apparently became the richest man there, but the magisters shunned him because of his birth. Jaehaerys doesn't just appoint him, he makes him a lord for equal honor, which led to that nickname, the Lord of Air.
Right, I remember that.
And Draws had that great comeback. If I could tax air, I would be a lord indeed.
Good one.
But seriously, this appointment was a massive statement. Jaehaerys was willing to look beyond Westerosi nobility. He valued skill, business sense, fresh ideas over just birthright. Clear signal. He's rebuilding with the best people he can find, no matter where they come from.
He also had to deal with the faith, right? That was always tricky. Septon Matthias, described as a fat and furious pullet who'd been railing against incestuous Targaryen marriages. He got sent away pretty quick. Matthias left with a warning, though. The faith will look askance at any king who thinks to rule without a Septon by his side.
Yeah, but Jaehaerys, he already had his next move planned. He kept Septon Oswick and Septa Isabel. And crucially, he brought in a young man coming from Highgarden to see to our library. His name is Barth.
Ah, Septon Barth, the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Exactly. And there's that legend, right? Matthias, all fat and pompous in his gilded wheelhouse, passing Barth, who's just alone on a simple donkey at Bitterbridge.
The symbolism is almost too perfect.
It really is.
Yeah.
It wasn't just swapping personnel. It was a deliberate shift in the kind of relationship the Crown wanted with the faith, moving towards maybe more scholarly, less dogmatic influences, setting the stage subtly.
And his reforms weren't just the big jobs either. Jaehaerys did this thorough, clean sweep of dozens of lesser offices, keeper of the keys, even the castle rat catchers. I mean, that's a king who really gets the details, isn't it? Understands the whole machine.
Absolutely. And it set him apart from past rulers, especially Maegor. He ordered the Red Keep's dungeons cleaned out, emptied, prisoners brought into the sun, bathed, allowed to appeal. He suspected many were innocents Maegor had locked up, and sadly, yeah, a lot of them had gone mad in there.
Oh, that's grim.
It is. But this action wasn't just about justice. It was about projecting this vision of good governance right from day one, showing he cared about the common person, not just the lords, understanding that even the smallest cogs matter.
Okay, so his own house is getting in order. Now he turns to a really big fish, Lord Rhaegar Baratheon. His former hand, the guy who'd publicly challenged his authority, big Stormlord energy there. The king summons him to Storm's End, causes division, Rhaegar's brothers arguing about what to do, but Rhaegar decides to go face the king.
And he travels with only 6 old knights. That says a lot, doesn't it? Maybe pride, maybe a calculated show of vulnerability. Jaehaerys receives him on the Iron Throne, crowned, council present, but the throne room itself, otherwise empty. Bennifer's insight here is key. It was done deliberately to spare his lordship's pride, letting Rhaegar humble himself without a huge audience watching.
Smart psychology.
Totally. It really makes you think about leadership, right? How do you turn enemies into allies? Sometimes it's not just force, but calculated respect, understanding ego.
And Rhaegar did humble himself. Knelt, put his sword down, pleaded for his brothers, for House Baratheon. He starts explaining himself, saying, all that I did, and Jaehaerys cuts him off, finishing the sentence. For the good of the realm, as you saw it. Wow. It's pretty magnanimous considering Rhaegar's defiance.
That's astonishing, really. Jaehaerys acknowledged Rhaegar helped him get the throne, saying, I would not sit upon this throne if not for you. He carefully drew a line between foolish words and actual treasonous actions.
So what were the conditions for the pardon?
Strategically brilliant. Rhaegar had to swear, never speak against the king or queen again, become Alysanne's loudest champion. And this is the masterstroke, return to Storm's End with Queen Alyssa as husband and wife. Treat her with honor and courtesy.
Tying up all the loose ends.
Exactly. Stabilize the political situation, turn a powerful potential enemy into a supporter, and resolve that really awkward, difficult family situation for his mother, Queen Alyssa. Genius.
What about Rhaegar's brother, Sir Oren, the one who was more rebellious?
Right. Jaehaerys sentenced Oren and his men to 10 years of exile. Not the wall, interestingly. He let them go sell their swords in Essos, basically. Yeah. Disputed lands, Korth.
And we know how that ended for Oren, sadly. Married an Archon's daughter, lost his position, died fighting for a free company, never came back.
Tragic story. But back in Westeros, Rhaegar, still trying to prove he's loyal, actually offers child hostages, his own nieces and nephews.
Oh, wow.
But Jaehaerys takes him outside instead, to Vermithor, who's like munching on a charred bull. Very casual dragon display.
Subtlety is key.
He scratches the dragon, tells Rhaegar, keep your nieces and your nephews, my lord. Why would I need hostages? I have your word. That is all that I require.
Smooth, but also Kind of terrifying.
Exactly. Grandmeister Benefer's interpretation was chilling. Jaehaerys basically said, without saying it, "Every man and maid and child in the Stormlands is my hostage, whilst I write him." And Lord Rogar heard him plain.
Yikes. So the unspoken dragon threat.
It's that mix, isn't it? Subtle diplomacy backed by overwhelming unspoken power. The psychological impact of dragons and politics. Jaehaerys wielded it perfectly to secure peace.
Truly masterful. So that night, they feast. Rogar sits next to Queen Alyssa, toasts Queen Alysanne, pledges loyalty. 4 days later, Alyssa goes back to Storm's End with him. Okay, so Rogar's dealt with, but Jaehaerys still has those two massive problems looming. Empty treasury, secret marriage. How do you fix both at once?
Enter Rhaego Drazigan. The new master of Clan gets right to work. He secures 3 big loans. Iron Bank of Bravos, plus rivals in Tyrosh and Myr. Apparently, he cleverly played them off against each other to get the best terms. Financial wizardry.
And that worked.
Immediately, work resumed on the Dragon Pep. That shows real financial clout. It's an understanding of international finance you didn't often see in Westeros then. Shows Jaehaerys trusted Draz's unconventional skills.
But loans are just plugging a hole, right? You need actual income.
Exactly. Jaehaerys and Rhaego knew that. Jaehaerys specifically rejected Celtigar's old taxes and Maegor's heavy-handed demands. He said, "Nothing is so costly as putting down rebellions." Smart man.
So what was his solution?
An innovative tax policy, taxing the things they wanted, fine and costly things from across the sea.
Yeah.
Luxuries.
Ah, the luxury tax.
Yep. Silk, samite, gemstones, fancy wines, imported armor. Spices got taxed the heaviest because they were the most desired. Rhaego Draz joked, "We are taxing all the things that made me rich."
Clever. How did he sell that to the council?
His justification was brilliant. He said, basically, no man can claim to be oppressed by these taxes. To avoid them, a man need only forgo his pepper, his silk, his pearls. The men who want these things desire them desperately. They may squawk, but they will pay. Pure psychology.
He also brought in that crenellation tax, right? For
Right.
building or expanding castles.
Yes. A hefty price. Dual purpose. Fill the treasury and subtly discourage lords from building up defiant strongholds. It wasn't just about money. It was about control. Using the desires and ambitions of the powerful to strengthen the crown.
Okay, treasury getting sorted, now the marriage. He finally sends for Queen Alysanne after, what, half a year apart?
Yeah, she came quickly on Silverwing. And they decided on a second wedding, but quieter this time. Not a repeat of the disastrous Golden Wedding.
Still, quite a few people turned up.
Oh yeah, 1,000 people in the Red Keep, apparently. Septon Barth officiated, right beneath the Iron Throne. Rogar was there, Alyssa, even Rhaena Targaryen watched.
And Alysanne insisted on the public bedding ritual.
She did. That's a key detail. She wanted no more questions as to whether she were truly married, making it absolutely undeniable. Lord Rhaegar, apparently roaring drunk, even led the men in disrobing her. Bit rowdy, but it served its purpose.
Definitely removes ambiguity.
It shows the Queen's agency, too,
Right.
Within that tradition, she was securing her status, the legitimacy to their marriage, in front of everyone. No more whispers.
So, marriage is public, finance is improving. But Jaehaerys knew the idea of the marriage was still dangerous. He looked back at his brother Aegon's marriage, right? Tried to figure out why it caused such a violent backlash.
Exactly. He analyzed it. Maegor defying the faith, the swords and stars rising up, Aegon and Rhaena being vulnerable without dragons. Jaehaerys saw the pattern. He believed, words are wind, but wind can fan a fire, and declared, "My father and my uncle fought words with steel and flame. We shall fight words with words and put out the fires before they start."
Wow, that's a fundamental shift in strategy, fighting ideas with ideas.
Total paradigm shift, yeah.
Yeah.
He saw the key differences in his own situation. The High Septon was compliant now, the faith militant was broken, and crucially, dragons. He and Alysanne had them. So his innovative plan, send out preachers, not soldiers.
Like a PR campaign.
Exactly. An early form of public relations. Directly counter the religious arguments with personal stories and a carefully constructed doctrine.
These were the 7 speakers. 3 men, 4 women.
Yep. Armed with, as they said, wits, their courage and their tongues. Their mission was simple. Tell every man you meet of Alysanne's kindness, her sweet and gentle nature, and her love for all the people of our kingdom, great and small. Paint a picture of the good queen.
Who was in this group? Anyone notable?
Oh yeah, quite a mix. Queen Eleanor, Maegor's black bride, who found him dead. Her testimony was powerful. Cunning Septon Baldric, learned Septon Rollo, fierce old Septon Alfin who had to be carried in a litter.
Wow, carried.
Yeah. And Septa Violante, a small healer known for miracles. Their collective appeal was designed to hit different notes, reach different people. Pious, personal, persuasive.
And the core argument they used was this doctrine of exceptionalism, crafted by Jaehaerys, Osric, and Barth.
That's the one. It cleverly affirmed, yes, incest is a sin for ordinary folk, according to the faith. But
Right, Targaryens are different.
yeah, exactly. Their Valyrian roots, their unique looks, silver hair, violet eyes, and of course the dragons. It set them apart. Old Septon Elfin, from his litter, used that great analogy, lion and aurochs. For you to bed your sister would be a grievous sin, sir. But you are not the blood of the dragon. What they do is what they have always done, and it is not for us to judge them.
That's bold.
Very. And Septon Baldric had that witty comeback to a hedge knight. Go to Dragonstone and claim a dragon. If you can do that, sir, I will marry you and your sister myself. Basically, you're not like them, so the rules aren't the same. It raises that big question, doesn't it? How far can a society bend its rules for leaders, especially dragon-riding ones? And how well can theology actually work to keep the peace?
Apparently, it worked well enough here. The realm didn't rise up. Combination of the High Septons staying quiet, people being tired of war, and the speakers doing their job. Okay, so things seem relatively stable. But there was still his sister Rhaena, right? The queen in the west, called his thorniest problem yet. Her progress through the realm apparently showed lords were either scared of her dragon Dreamfire or maybe wanted a dragon of their own. She told Jaehaerys they lust for dragons, and she demanded Dragonstone, her father's seat. Claimed she had a better claim.
Yeah, that was tricky. Jaehaerys handled it very carefully. He granted her Dragonstone strategically, but made it crystal clear it was by my gift, not by right.
Asserting his authority.
Absolutely. No ambiguity. He's king, even over his powerful dragon-riding older sister. Rhaena's sharp reply shows the tension, though. Are you so uncertain of that iron seat that you must needs have your own blood bend the knee to you, brother? Ouch.
Yeah, definite tension there. But it shows Jaehaerys holding firm, even with family.
Then Rhaena asked for one thing more. Her daughter, Arya, who was also Jaehaerys' official heir at that point.
And Jaehaerys just said, done. Maybe a bit too quickly. What were the risks of sending his heir back to Rhaenyra on Dragonstone?
Potentially huge risks, looking back. It seemed like family reconciliation then, but giving his heir back to a powerful, somewhat independent sister on the traditional Targaryen stronghold, it definitely introduced potential instability down the line. Seeds planted, you know.
Meanwhile, back in King's Landing, Queen Alysanne's influence is growing.
Significantly. She started attending small council meetings. A surprise at first, but she quickly proved herself wise, well-read, and clever, not just a figurehead.
And she wanted to change the feel of the court, too, make it less grim than under Maegor.
Exactly. She wanted to bring back the splendor of her father Aenys' time. Brought in musicians, Tom the Strummer became court singer, mummers, dancers, even the Red Keep's first fool, the Goodwives with their wooden puppets.
Adding some life back into the place.
Yeah, cultural vibrancy. It really shows the Queen's role wasn't just symbolic. She was a real cultural and political force, shaping the atmosphere. It's that fascinating blend of statecraft and, well, just living.
And then the ultimate sign of stability for a young king trying to secure his dynasty. Several moons later, Alysanne announces she's pregnant.
Yeah. That moment of personal joy for them, it also symbolized continuity, hope for the whole realm, further cementing the Targaryen dynasty. It wasn't just about shrewd politics and dragons anymore. It was about the future, the next generation. Kind of brings that intense early period to a hopeful close.
So, okay, let's unpack this a bit as we wrap up. We've seen King Jaehaerys Targaryen just in these early years pull off this incredible transformation. From a really shaky start, he rebuilds his council, brings powerful lords back into the fold, fixes the economy, and pretty cleverly legitimizes that tricky marriage.
It really is a testament to multifaceted leadership, isn't it? Knowing exactly when to be tough, when to be conciliatory, when to just be completely innovative. His wisdom, I think, was understanding that real power wasn't just about having dragons. It was about people, it was about perception, and having a clear purpose. He didn't just rule, he really did remake the realm.
But for you listening, here's something to chew on. For all his wisdom, all that meticulous planning, Jaehaerys still had to make compromises, didn't he? Especially with his own family. We saw those subtle power plays with Rhaena, the decision to return Arya, his own heir, to her. How might those early seemingly resolved tensions, those compromises with his own blood, ultimately set the stage for conflicts decades down the line in Targaryen history? What quiet seeds of future trouble, do you think, were sown even in this so-called realm remade?